Hi everyone, this is Mike from Heroes and Bosses, and in this video I'm going to be painting this 3D resin print. This is for a painting contest hosted by Ork on Instagram, and I'll post a link to where you can download this bust below. If you need it printed, I always go to Print Star on Etsy. He's a friend of mine, and it's always perfection. As you can see, I'm priming this in black, as I always prefer to build up my colors from black to the brightest highlights. This bust is going to be mostly shades of greens and purples, so I'm starting with a base coat of a deep greenish color mixed with a dark purple color. This will be like a halfway point between my highlights and shadows. Now I know this looks like it's going on as a bright, ugly brown color, and at first I was a little afraid of what was happening, but paint from an airbrush often looks quite different after it dries. So here it is dried, and this is the color I was expecting and hoping for, a desaturated greenish gray color. The first highlight color is going to be one of the original colors, Heavy Gray by Vallejo. I'm spraying this from almost 90 degrees, so pretty much straight on. I'm also spraying this from above. As my colors get brighter and brighter, the angle will get steeper. And because we started with a base coat that included this green in the mix, the transition from the darker color to the brighter one will look natural. Once again, I'm sticking with the original green color, but for the next highlight I'll be mixing in equal parts yellow. Now this bust is supposed to be a zombie, so I'm going to keep the colors somewhat muted, otherwise I would probably go with a much more saturated yellow like Demonic Yellow or Flash Gitz Yellow. This time I'm pretty much only spraying from directly above, although I am selectively hitting certain spots, like the cheekbones, the brow, the nose, and the tops of the ears and the lips. So you can probably figure out the pattern I'm following here. The main color I want the skin to be is the Vallejo Heavy Gray, which is definitely not gray, it's green. It's nearly identical to Death World Forest from GW or Olive Drab from Army Painter, but to create the shadow color I mixed in a dark purple, and to create the highlight color I mixed in yellow. Next I want to create more contrast between the highlights and shadows by using a speed paint and a contrast paint. First I'm using Moody Mauve, which I've mixed about 3 parts thinner and 1 part speed paint. I'm spraying this from below, hitting the underside of the neck and the chin, behind the ears, and under the cheekbones and eye sockets. It doesn't require any skill to really do this. If you tilt the model's head back, that's just where the spray is going to go. It is going to take several layers for this to deepen enough to create some really good shadows, and because this is a thinned down speed paint, you will need to wait a few minutes between layers. The color changes as it dries too, so I'm trying to be patient. Now I know I said contrast paint was going to be next, but my highlights weren't quite as bright as I hoped after they dried, so I'm going to do one more final highlight color of a bright green and yellow mixed together. And once again, this is from directly above, and I'm trying to focus this on the brow, nose, cheekbones, and ears. So the final step is contrast paint, though you could definitely use a speed paint or an ink wash in lieu of this. This just happens to be the color I need. You've probably heard the term unifying wash, where you brush one wash color over the entire model to make everything look like it belongs together. And that's kind of what I was doing with this. The Plague Bearer flesh is going to add a sickly green color to this bust. Though after it was done, the skin wasn't quite as green as I wanted, so I then added a very thin layer of striking scorpion green on top. And just like with the highlight colors, I sprayed this from above. I'm not hitting the underside where I've sprayed the mauve. So here he is finished off. I didn't do anything else with the skin, I just painted the mouth, eyes, and hair. I've got the lights shining pretty much straight at him, so the shadows you're seeing are just that purple underspray. Anyway, wish me luck in the painting contest, and I hope you found this video useful. This is Mike from Heroes and Bosses, and thanks for watching.